All right, so we are starting chapter 4, lesson 1. We're going to be talking about the coordinate plane. So, what we're going to learn in this lesson is we're going to learn how to locate points on a coordinate plane. We're going to learn how to graph points on a coordinate plane. And some of the vocabulary to keep in mind is axis, origin, and coordinate plane. And then you have y-axis, x-axis, and then you have x-coordinate and the y-coordinate. And then finally, quadrant and graph. So, how do archaeologists use coordinate systems? So, underwater archaeologists use a grid system to map excavation sites of sunken ships. The grid is used as a point of reference on the ocean floor. The coordinate system is also used to record the location of objects they find. Knowing the position of each object helps archaeologists reconstruct how the ship sank and where to find other artifacts. So, for us, we're going to be focusing on a couple of things. So, first, we want to learn how to identify points on a coordinate plane. So in math, points are located in reference into two perpendicular lines called the axes. So here we have the y-axis and here we have the x-axis. And this is known as the coordinate plane. Many of you probably have experience with this. The origin is right in the middle at 0, 0. And so as you go up on the y-axis, the vertical axis, numbers get positive. As you go down, numbers get negative. And on the x-axis, as you go to the left, numbers get negative. And as you go to the right on the x-axis, numbers get positive. So points in the coordinate plane are named by the ordered pairs in the form of x, y, right? So you have a parentheses on the outside, x coordinate first, y coordinate second. The first number, the x coordinate, corresponds to how far left and right the point is. And the second coordinate, the y coordinate, corresponds to how far up and down the point is. And again, the origin is at 0, 0. Oh, let's look at an example. Let's name some ordered pairs. So write the ordered pair for point G. So here's point G over here. So if I were going to identify and name this ordered pair, first I would want to follow along how far it goes along on the x axis, right? So how far left does it go? So if I follow it here, it looks like it goes 1, 2, 3, 4 units to the left. And then if I follow it this way, it looks like it goes up 1, 2, 3 units up on the y-axis. So if I were to name this coordinate, it looks like it goes to the left 4 units, which would be -4, goes up 3 units, which is +3. So this point G, I would say would be at the point -4, +3, right? The x coordinate goes first and the y coordinate goes second. So the x-axis and the y-axis separate the coordinate plane into 4 regions called quadrants. Notice which quadrants contain positive and negative x-coordinates and which quadrants contain positive and negative y-coordinates. These axes are located in any of the coordinates. So let's go ahead and take a look. So here I have quadrant 1. The one on the top right is quadrant 1. This is where all the x's and the y coordinates are all positive, right? Positive x, positive y. That's where quadrant 1 starts. And then from there, we go counterclockwise. So we have quadrant 2, where the x's are negative, but the y's are still positive. Then we go again, continue counterclockwise to quadrant 3, where all the x's and y's are both negative, right? Left and down are both negative for x's and y's. And then continuing counterclockwise to quadrant 4, x's are positive, y's are negative. So let's go ahead and identify some quadrants for these points. Right, so it says write the ordered pairs of A, B, C, and D and name the quadrant in which they're located. So let's go ahead and first let's look at point A. So if I were to identify point A, first I want to identify the x coordinate. So it goes 1, 2, 3, 4 units to the right. So that would be a +4 on the x coordinate. And I know that it goes up 1, 2, 3 units on the y-axis. So that would be +3 for its y coordinate. So the ordered pair would be written as 4, 3, right? Parentheses with 4, 3. And that is located where both of the x and y coordinates are positive, right? So that would be quadrant 1. Okay, let's go ahead and move on to point B. So point B has an x-coordinate of 1, 2, positive 2, because it's 2 to the right, and then a y-coordinate of 0, because if you notice, it doesn't go up and down at all. And so that ordered pair would be listed as 2, 0, right? Parentheses 2, comma 0. In the quadrant, well, it actually doesn't fall in any of the quadrants because if you notice, it's right on the x-axis, right in between quadrant 1 and quadrant 4. So we would actually consider this to have no quadrant. It doesn't belong to either one of them. Okay? So if you ever find a point that's along on one of the axes, then technically it's kind of bordering two quadrants and it doesn't count for either one. So the rest of these will have quadrants though. So let's look at point C. Point C looks like it goes 1, 2, 3 units to the left. So that would be -3 for the x-coordinate. And then it goes down 2 units on the y-axis. So that would be -2 for the y-coordinate. So I would take my x and y coordinate and write my ordered pair. And then point C is located, oh, I know this is quadrant 1, quadrant 2, quadrant 3. So point C would be located in quadrant 3. So let's look at point D now. So point D goes 1 unit to the right, so that would have an x-coordinate of 1. And then it goes 1, 2, 3, 4 units down. So that's a -4 as a y-coordinate, and its point is 1, -4. And since it's located down in this quadrant, this is quadrant 1, quadrant 2, quadrant 3, quadrant 4. So that is how you would identify the ordered pair of a point and what quadrant it's located in. So again, the tricky ones are if it lies right in between on one of these axes, then it kind of borders two, then it doesn't actually count as any. But the rest of these did fall in a specific quadrant. So to graph points, an ordered pair means to draw a dot on the point on the coordinate plane that corresponds to its ordered pair. This is sometimes called plotting a point. When graphing an ordered pair, start at the origin, then the x-coordinate indicates how many units you move right if it's positive or left if it's negative. The y-coordinate indicates how many units up or down you move, up being positive, down being negative. So let's go ahead and graph some points. So here I have 3 points that I'm asked to graph, right? I have point R, point S, and point T. For each one of the points, they give me the x and y coordinate. So if I was going to go ahead and graph this one, I would start at the origin. I would move 4 units to the left because it's -4. And then I would move 1 unit up since the y coordinate is +1, and then draw a dot at R. So it would look something like this, right? 4 units left, 1 unit up. For point B, it's 0, -5. So for this one, I would start at the origin. I would move 0 units left or right because the x-coordinate is 0. And then I would be moving 5 units down because it's a -5 y-coordinate. And then I would draw my S, which would look something like this, right? 0 units left or right, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 units down for point S. Point T asked me to plot the point 3, -2. So here I have start at the origin, move 3 units to the right and 2 units down, right? 3 units for my x, 2 units down for my y. So it would look like that. 3 units to the right, 2 units down, and there's point T. So that's how I would plot or graph these coordinate points. Let's look at the use of a coordinate system. So it says latitude and longitude lines form a system of coordinates to designate locations on Earth. Latitude lines run east and west and are the first coordinate of the ordered pair, and longitude lines run north and south and are the second coordinate of the ordered pair. So here's my map. So these are my x coordinates, these are my y coordinates, right? X coordinates run left and right, y coordinates run up and down. So latitude is running east to west, and then longitude runs up and down. Okay, so let's look. Name the city at 40 degrees, 105 degrees. Okay, well, let's look. 40 degrees, right? And then 105 degrees. Well, for that one, I would locate the latitude line of 40 degrees and follow it until it intersects the longitude line of 105 degrees. So here is 40 degrees, and I go all the way to 105 degrees right here, which is Denver. So that would be the city located at that one. If you've ever picked up a globe, you would see these latitude and longitude lines. So now B, it says estimate the latitude and longitude of Washington, D.C. So Washington, D.C. is down here, and it looks like it's just below 40 degrees, right? And it looks like it is right in between 80 and 75. So I would say that it is close to 40 and 75. There are about 5 degrees between each line, so a good estimate is that you would be about 39 degrees for the latitude and 77 degrees for the longitude. So that would be about right, about 39 degrees because it's just under the 40, and then about 77 because it's just to the left of 75, but still further away from 80. All right, that's how we use that. Let me know if you guys have any questions.